I don't know. If you can understand it, please translate in the comments. Decode what the hell is going on with the situation, because personally, doesn't make much sense to me. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Tyler Keeps Talking, where I'm gonna keep talking today about one of my favorite BL series at the moment, which is Step by Step. So if you watched the last review, you will know that the last episode was not really my favorite, but I like this episode a lot more, so let's get into it. The episode starts off with maybe one of my favorite scenes in the whole series, which I'm sure a lot of people will maybe think is weird, but it's the scene with Chat is like giving Pat some advice as like the older sister. I freaking love this bitch Chat. Like, if Chad has one fan, it's me. If Chad has no fans, I'm dead. I just love the character so much, and it kind of makes me look forward to like getting older. I mean, Chad is not old at all. I think like the character is supposed to be around 30 years old, that's what I guess, but being like the older sister to like the gays in the workplace, like, oh my god, that is just so sweet. And then the advice that he gave to Pat is also like very solid. Like, bitch, snap out of it, basically. It's not fair of you to decide things for Mr. Jeng. He's a grown-ass man. If he decided that he wants to be with you, then that's his decision, and if you don't want to, that's one thing, but don't decide that you don't want to on his behalf instead of yours, right? Great advice, I think. Like, I almost cried watching this scene because it's like the femme gays are the backbone of society for real, for real, for real. If it was not for Chad, the story would end here, right? Like, if not for Chad, it would be like Jeng resigns and the story's over. Like, they never get together and nothing gets resolved. But luckily, Queen Chad is here to save the day. Anyways, let me stop talking about Chad. Love that bitch. So Chad tells Pat that it is Mr. Jeng's birthday, so why don't you go surprise him, wish him happy birthday, get him a gift, whatever. So he does that. And surprises him while he's, I think, making pizza or something in the kitchen at his restaurant. And Pat is like, starts crying immediately. Oh my god, like, I think that Pat must be a Cancer because he has been crying like a million times in the series. For all the astrology girlies out there, let me know what your guess for the main characters of the series is. I think that Pat is a Cancer and Mr. Jeng is a Virgo. But anyways, we get the whole thing with Pat crying. And Mr. Jeng be like, no, it's fine, I made my decision, nothing's gonna happen, I'm not leaving everyone, I'm not leaving you, we can be together now, it's gonna be easier this way, perfect. And they start making out in the kitchen, and Mr. Jeng is like, don't worry if someone sees, I own this place, which I kind of have like a little bit of a hot take about, but maybe we'll get into that a little bit later when they meet the homeless people. But they make out, and Mr. Jeng puts Pat on the counter, like pushes him up there and start making out. Do you think they had sex or not? For me, in my fantasy, yes, I do think they had sex in the middle of the kitchen of the restaurant, in the middle of broad daylight with all those windows there. Let me know what you think. And we get the most exciting call for my favorite shot, that his man, Crit, has decided to come out to his parents, and that they'll be meeting his parents next week for dinner or whatever, so that they can meet Chad. And I almost cried during this scene too, and I was so happy for him. Again, it's like one of the things that this series does about addressing like real life issues in society. So yeah, it was something that I appreciated a lot. And then we get a cute little scene of Pat and Jeng eating their cake together. They finally follow each other on Instagram and they take some selfies together. That was just a cute scene, I think. Another instance of them like integrating pretty seamlessly the sponsored content, the screen protector. I mean, this one was a little bit more obvious, but at least it kind of makes sense with the rest of the story, so I didn't mind it again. And then we get like a little montage of them being all lovey-dovey, cutesy-cutesy in the office. This was a little bit confusing to me because I thought that because of these scenes that they were just gonna be open about their relationship and that, yeah, people are gonna know that we're together, but it doesn't matter because Mr. Jeng is not technically Pat's boss anymore, I guess, after he resigns. But we'll see later that they actually do care, so yes, I'm not sure, like maybe they just thought that people were not going to be paying attention, or they thought that it wasn't going to be as big of a deal to other people as it was. But I'm a little bit confused about like, if they cared, then why were they doing all of that in the office when there's clearly someone working next to them? I don't know. But another surprising thing happens when they're still being, you know, not necessarily lovey-dovey, but clearly very close at the badminton game, I guess like team building activity. And the surprising thing is that Ing defends Pat and Mr. Jeng. We know that she was a gossip girl, a gossip queen. She was kind of abusing her power to Pat in the beginning of the series, so I personally did not expect her to like be going this hard for Pat defending him, but I am very pleasantly surprised because I also really love Ying. Something about her is just so queenie to me, even though she was like very toxic in the beginning. I guess it's just like her facial expressions, I don't know, she's just very funny to me. So happy to see her being on the right side of history with this one. And then we get another cutesy scene of Pat and Mr. Jeng. I know all of you guys are loving this episode as well, with all of the, to be honest, feels kind of like fan service scenes. I guess they're making up for the last episode, but I don't want to hear any more of the comments saying that this series is inch by inch, it's not even step by step, it's one step forward and 5 steps back, whatever. You got it, so please be quiet, okay? Let the rest of us. But yeah, even me who does not really enjoy the whole like lovey-dovey cutesy scenes that much, it was cute. I really like how it's like Mr. Jang is the one that is being very like almost kind of corny, kind of cheesy, saying like the view is so beautiful because of you, and Pat being like, stop saying this like disgusting, corny bullshit to me. But it's like you can tell he secretly loves it. He's just like, you know, being a little bit shy about it, a little bit, I don't know, I get it because I'm like this too. Even though I will like love it, if someone is being corny to me, I'll pretend like I hate it. I don't know. All of you guys can be armchair psychologists in the comments if you want to analyze why we're like that, but I appreciate that aspect of it. So it was cute. And then they decide to go feed the homeless together. Very pure, very wholesome. I also appreciate, you know, obviously from societal commentary, I guess, aspect, is that this scene is able to romanticize doing something so good as feeding the homeless, right? Like I can imagine not only me, but a lot of other people will be watching this and be like, you know what? It actually would be very sweet date to go feed homeless people with my partner. Hopefully it inspires more people to help out their community, help people in need. So that was cute. I enjoyed that. There's also something like a bigger thing that I kind of hinted at in the beginning. Something that I noticed that like, I don't know if it's intentional or not, but people who are wealthy and like have power tend to kind of like, I don't know if it's they're not like recognizing the existence of other people, or they're just like think that other people are not that smart. Because this is like the second time we see Pat being very like, people can see us. Like there are people around us, like people will be able to see what we're doing, right? But both times Mr. Jang is like, no, don't worry about it. Nobody's gonna see, nobody's gonna know. And kind of being a bit reckless. In my own experience with wealthy, powerful people, it is also like this. It's like they don't acknowledge the existence of other people, and so they just think that like they're not gonna get caught doing whatever it is. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but I thought it was very, very accurate. Then Mr. Jang meets Pat's dad, and Pat's dad is being like incredibly aggressive and like almost cussing him out, being like, how dare you did that to my son before, and you better take care of him, whatever. I can kind of understand it. I mean, it was a funny scene, right? But he did make Pat cry many times before, so I can understand where his dad is coming from. Was it a bit too much? Probably, but it's drama, and so it was dramatic. But ultimately, I guess, kind of gets his dad's approval in the end. So cute, funny scene, I guess. And then we get a sex scene. Sex scene number 2 for this episode, at least in my mind. Maybe in your mind it's the first one if you don't count the restaurant one. But yes, it was cute. I'm obviously not gonna say I didn't like it. I did like it, but I don't know if I really want to say more than that. I recommend you go watch it yourself. I'm sure you will enjoy it as well. So yes, moving on, we go to A's wedding, which is hosted at Mr. Jang's restaurant, I believe. The scene where Pat asks Mr. Jang if he wants to get married, and then Mr. Jang doesn't really reply, but it shows the bride and the groom kissing, and then it pans up, pans down, and it's Mr. Jang and Pat kissing. That freaked me out so bad because I was like, you did not just fast forward to them actually getting married, like they just got together 5 minutes ago. Let's please not discuss marriage right now. So that spooked me. But it ended up being, I think, a daydream of some sort, I think from Mr. Jang. And then it ends up being that Pat catches the bouquet, so I guess they're going to be next. I kind of hope it's not in this series. If there's a season 2, that'll be cute, but I think we only have 2 episodes left, and I don't know about them getting married. Like, that'll be kind of rushed, I think, but we'll see. And then we finally get a conversation between Jab and Jane. To be honest, this kind of pissed me off, especially coming with another scene later. So basically, we find out that Jane is like clearly not having the best time. He broke up with his boyfriend, we know that a while ago. But it doesn't really seem like he's thriving. It seems like he still wants to be with Jab, but Jab is seeing someone new. Why is Jab seeing someone new? Who knows? I feel bad for them both, but I also think both of them are kind of in the situation they're in because it's their own fault for Jane to cheat on his man, I guess. And then he did break up with him so that he could be with Jab, but Jab is like saying no. I mean, it's a risk that you'll take if you decide to break up with your current partner to be with someone else. There's no guarantee that that person is gonna be with you, right? So in terms of Jane's situation, it is the consequences of his own actions, I guess. But Jab, I don't know what the hell is going on with him. It doesn't make that much sense to me. Clearly you were okay with kissing him and like making moves on him when you knew he had a boyfriend, so I guess it didn't bother you at that time. But then it did bother you that he broke up with his boyfriend to be with you, and now because that bothered you so much, you are going to date someone else even though you were clearly still in love with Jane. Like, no, sorry, doesn't make sense to me. So this whole thing between them two is a little bit just annoying. I mean, I guess it adds for some mess, for some drama, so I'm not complaining, but not great for me. And then we finally get clarification on the relationship between Beam and A. After everything is said and done at the wedding, Beam comes to A and is like asking me to tell you. And A is like, what? That you like me? That you want to get this off your chest so you can move on? Whatever, whatever. And Beam was like, oh my god, how did you know? Yeah, it was a cute scene. I think I appreciate, even though it is like set in stone now that they're never gonna get together, Beam is still, was always seemed to be respectful of the relationship, and now that it is like for sure never gonna happen, they're still friends, so I appreciate that. And it was not like awkward. It doesn't seem like a lot is changing with their friendship, so I think it was a cute scene. So then we're back in the office and we get the news that Ford, which was the company that they did the ad with, they want to do another ad specifically with Pat. So congrats to Pat, making moves, not only romantically but also with his job as well. Love to see it, he's flourishing. We saw that the ad was much more successful than other comparable ads from the company and whatever. Basically, Pat is just slaying it in terms of work. However, not everything is going so smoothly for Pat in the workplace because gossip about him and Jeng's relationship is starting to spread. To the surprise of nobody, because they were not really being secretive about it at all, to the point that I thought they just didn't care about getting caught anymore. But clearly they do. I mean, maybe it's just because they thought nobody would care that much, which I think is a bit naive. If you take yourself out of the BL world and you found out that this new hire that was in charge of a major project that would normally go to people with more senior positions. How convenient, he's dating the boss. Of course people would start to speculate things like that, even though we know that from seeing the story progress, it seems like Pat has actually been doing a good job on his own and has a lot of fresh ideas. In a company that big, most people are not going to know if you're a good worker or not, right? They only know that, oh, you were put on projects that are normally way outside of your level, and now you find out that you're dating someone that is in a very big position of power. So yes, they are going to speculate, of course. I'm not saying that it's right, but it's definitely something that is going to happen. But here we see again Queen Ing coming to the rescue saying, yeah bitch, I love to gossip, but I'm not gonna gossip about people's sexuality. She said, I might be a messy bitch, but I do have some morals. So kudos to her, because I am the same way. And we see that Pat heard all about this and it is getting to his head severely. But the next scene is where we find out, or I guess get confirmation, that even though Jab is dating somebody new, he's still in love with Jane. So it just makes no sense to me at all. Like, Jane is clearly ready to be with you at any minute if you just ask, and you are clearly in love with him too, but you're deciding to be with somebody else. For what? I don't know. If you can understand it, please translate in the comments, decode what the hell is going on with the situation, because personally doesn't make much sense to me. I mean, it's not like Jane really wronged Jab severely that job is like, I cannot see you the same way ever again. I don't know, to me it doesn't seem that way. The way things started is a little bit shady, a little bit but at least he broke up with his boyfriend as soon as he did something with somebody else, right? I think it's kind of the best thing you can do in that situation. I don't know, let me know what you think. And then the shit talking about Pat specifically in the workplace intensifies, and we see that people are even writing gossipy notes on the bulletin board about him, and everyone is like, no, don't worry about it, it's just small little talks, whatever. But we see that no, actually it is not just office place gossip. We realize that the higher ups have also heard about it, and they are not happy at all. So they give Jeng an ultimatum that either Pat gets taken out of the project with Ford or Pat gets fired. Pick one, basically. As a viewer of this series, I'm just like, no, this is not fair, you can't do that. But honestly, like, if I think about it in the real world, like, I think actually what the higher ups are doing is correct, because they don't know the backstory of that relationship, right? The power dynamics could be very questionable, and so I think it is right of the company to like nip that in the bud as soon as possible and just say, no, we're not doing that. But it still really does suck, because in actuality, Pat did not get that project because of Jeng. I mean, maybe the first time he did. This time they specifically requested him because they like the work that he did, and the fact that he is getting that taken away from him obviously really sucks. So we'll see what happens with that in the next episode. So we're kind of wondering what is Jeng gonna choose. I mean, we can infer that probably Jeng is gonna choose to not have Pat work on the project so that Pat doesn't have to quit completely. But then we see that nope, Pat is tired of all the drama and the office gossip with everything going on, and he says, I'm just gonna quit. So he puts in his resignation letter, and it is approved by a higher up without Jeng's consent first. So this is where we left. What do I think is gonna happen? I actually think it's not a bad idea for Pat to leave the company and go a separate way. He could probably go directly to Ford. That's why I'm thinking, like, get a job at Ford, and then Pat and Jeng can just be together and not have to worry about all the office place politics and the gossip from the coworkers. But Pat could still probably have a pretty good job. So we'll see what happens. Yes, I think that Pat is going to quit and probably should quit. I think it'll be better for them to just not work in the same place. But overall, I did really like this episode. I feel like it went back to normal. I don't know, for some reason that last episode, episode 9, was just very weird. But I pretty much enjoyed every scene in this episode for the most part. And I'm really sad that there's only 2 episodes left. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, however you feel. And remember to follow me on Instagram and TikTok, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!